Hey, folks, this is Jeff, and I got a question for you. Can you take a report, a simple report that's not even brand new, and repurpose it into courses, memberships, and even more? We're going to answer that question for you right after this. All right, welcome to episode 71 of the Content Profits Show. And thank you for it being episode 71 because I owe that to y'all for making this a great show and a popular show. And you know what, Rick, we're booking into August right now. It's just
That's
crazy.
amazing.
I'm just so stunned. And I still don't have my finger right. You go over here, folks, to jeffherring.com/apply and get that. Okay. So in a minute, I'm going to introduce Rick. But first, I want to share with you my favorite repurposing video. Okay. So let me turn up the volume here to make sure we get it. All right. And you may wonder what that is. And those of you of our generation, Rick will know what this is right away. So here we go. Oops, I'm pressing the wrong button. That's repurposing, folks. I mean, come on. Isn't it, Rick? That's repurposing, right? In a in a
Right.
unique form, right?
Very much so.
All
Very.
right. So I want to introduce to y'all Dr. Rick Hoffer. I'm sorry, Hoffer. We were just having that conversation, weren't we? Okay. And you see his book, author of the of Funded Essentials of Grant Writing for who?
For human services professionals.
I love it. And he wrote that book and another one for nonprofits and consults with nonprofits that strive to be more effective. Has been there. It is. Yay! I love that. See, this guy's experienced. Not his first rodeo. And so I want to welcome Rick. He's been around in our world for a long time. So, hey, Rick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff. It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to it.
As soon as I saw your name get scheduled, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Because I think you've got what you've done with this. Because, I mean, we've talked about it before. Grant writing is not the sexiest topic in the world, right? Yet and still, you've had fun with it. And it reminds me of the first class I ever had in grad school in my master's was a stats class. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I took one of those because I had to in college. And I'm like, oh, God, another one. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The textbook, first of all, was paperback. And I went, okay, this is different. Mm-hmm. But it was playing off of that book, popular in the 70s. It said everything you always want to know about statistics, but we're afraid to ask. And I thought, okay, this could be cool. And then years later, when I took another one, you may recognize what this is, ANOVA, Analysis of Variance.
Yeah.
I have never felt so stupid as I did that summer. And thank God, if you showed up, behaved, and did what you could, you got a C. And thank God for that, because otherwise, okay? So this is the funny part. About 4 years later, that professor brings his teenage son and family to me, you know, when I was a counseling psychologist. And, you know, I played the whole thing serious until the end. And I look over at him and I said, Dr. So-and-so, aren't you glad you passed me? And he's like, yeah. So let's take a look at your article that you brought us. There we go. And actually, that's
my mute. Yeah, here we go.
There we go. Get money for your nonprofit. $10 million lessons from master grant writers. Now, one of the many things I think is cool about this, Rick, is that this is almost 10 years old, right?
Yeah, 2014.
Or, yeah, yeah. And so what I want everybody to pay attention to, whether you're live or on a replay, is you don't always have to create something new. Okay. If you've got stuff in the archives, I've still got articles that I wrote when I had the newspaper column, the relationship coach column, that I haven't used yet. I still got articles that I wrote about this stuff back in Easy and Article days. And as long as it's current, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and maybe you have to, update a couple things. Like, I've got articles that talked about MySpace, and so you need to get that out of there, right?
Yeah.
So a beautiful idea. Let's take a look here. $10 million lessons from master grant writers. What that tells me right away is there's 10 more articles and 10 products in what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's take it. See, just to prove he's right. There we go. 2014. Okay, let's get to the meat. Okay. Lesson one: never, never, never give up. So never give up. Huh? I like that. Okay. Winston. Well, I love it. While Winston Churchill was never a grant writer, he was a wise. See, that's a nice use of name. That's a good name dropping to make a point. I love that. Get over yourself.
That one is really important because people who write grants think, oh, this is what I want to do with the money. And
right.
Fundraisers, right. I mean, they don't care what you want to do. They want you to care what they want. So you got to flip the switch on it.
That's such a huge point because my degree and my licensure when I was a counseling psych was in marriage and family therapy. So out in the world, people would say, well, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a marriage and family therapist. Now, me, I'm thinking I worked my butt off for this degree. I worked my butt off to get licensed. And I said that and most people would walk away. Like they don't care. And other people would say, well, does that mean you're analyzing me right now? And I'd think, well, not until right now. And so I really had to convert and do something different. And that's where I came up with my what I call it the DW formula for what you do. And I turned I'm a marriage and family therapist into well, you know how couples get together at first and they feel like soulmates and then they drift into just roommates. Everybody's like, yeah. But what I do is help you make the intentional journey back from roommate to soulmate in a way that lasts. And the least I would get was, can I have your business card? And sometimes they'd ask me to pull up my appointment book and we'd make an appointment right there in Publix, So we can play with that about how you, because that's smart in how you talk to people. It's like I do something in the neighborhood I live now. I'm kind of the events coordinator. Mm-hmm. And so I build these relationships with restaurants and stores. And I was in a restaurant the other night and I mean, they jumped all over this because I was saying, there's 250 places in this neighborhood, okay? And we're a mile away. I can send you so many long-term customers. It wasn't about, here's what we're doing. It was about, this is how it's going to pay off for you guys. Refine your research skills, okay? Foresee the future. I love that. Good titles. Retain great records.
Oh, I worked hard on those.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you've been paying attention to. Oh, nice alliteration. Proclaim your prowess. Lesson 7. Love logic models. What's a logic model?
It's a visual representation of your program, how you go from having money to outcomes.
Okay. So we're going to kind of do that for you in a minute. Yeah. I didn't know that was a logic model. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I'll start calling it a content profit logic model. Ooh, I like that. Raise my prices. All right. Lesson 9, evaluation is essential. Lesson 10, succeed with sustainability. Really, really good job. Now, one of the things we can do, every one of those 10 could be its own article over here. Mm-hmm. In addition to, you could start with that whole thing as an article and then do an article on each. Because what's cool about this, let's just look at lesson 10. You've already written pretty much a page on it, okay? and then you just add some more, because I mean, I know you didn't say everything you know here. So we can get these on medium, and get you current too. I noticed it's been a while, but we'll get you current. And now let's look at this model. And again, like I said before we went live, these are just suggestions. We can change it, we can play with it, and we can make it bigger when we get there. All right, so, whoops. Let's go this way. There we go. All right, so Rick's new content empire. We got the master grant writer. Oops, I forgot to change that to report. I think I did earlier, but I just didn't save it. All right, so we're having fun. That's not an article, it's a report. And folks, pay attention. I mean, we've repurposed all kinds of things. Reports. What did we do this week for the first time?
We had a quiz.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, that was a blast. And that article about that one has gotten a lot of traffic too. All right, so the grant writer report. And so I drew this down here because this by itself is gonna drive traffic even to the grant writer report. You can use all these 11 articles, the big one and the 10 small ones, to drive people here, okay, to build your community. And I imagine the people that would be into grant writing aren't just slightly into it. It sounds like that kind of niche where people don't know what it is, or they're really into it. They're passionate about that. Is that?
Yeah, it's their full-time job, and
okay, yeah,
they put themselves into it.
And how long does an average grant take to write?
You know, the big federal grants that you only get 6 weeks notice about, you pretty much spend your entire 6 weeks between when the notice comes out to when you have to turn it in.
Right.
So okay. It kind of varies, but it's pretty intense.
Okay. So it's not something you write the night before it's due.
Well, you don't get funded. I mean, you can certainly write it then, but
oh yeah, that. All right, so we got all this stuff driving traffic. And then remember, folks, 10 additional pieces of content, video, article, whatever, driving traffic. And so one of the ways to do this, I mean, this just screams for a course, you know, and I don't mean something you taught as a professor. I mean something you would do online, grant writers, okay? And in some fields, 10 modules would be too much to consume. I think it's right for something like this. If we put it together and find out it's not, we can bundle a couple modules and make it shorter or whatever. The reason I said course is the thing to do would be to design this one and then pull out each point as its own mini course. Okay, so then you've got 10 mini courses pointing to this one, okay, which is more traffic. And I got to imagine that in your world, if somebody reads one of those 10 and you're so good at it, they're either going to think there's 10 more, there's 9 more where, okay?
Right.
So they'll either get those smaller ones or they'll get these, the bigger one. Now, I got short-term and monthly here. That's about membership sites. And again, the folks you work with are passionate about what they do. The reason I have a short-term one in there is a couple things. People love them, and it gets past the resistance to being a membership site. Because some people still think, like, I won't ever be able to get out. Like, kind of remember Columbia House Records?
Yeah.
10 albums for $1. Yeah.
I did it.
Did you? Me too. Pissed my parents off big time. So yeah, it's not that. And so it could be like, for you, it could be like a 10 or 12 week program. And each week would be one of the 10, right?
Right.
and you could send like a, you know, the article with some questions or instructions in it, and then a video you teaching it. Um, uh, and you know, do that for 10 or 12 weeks. Um, my first one was article marketing for beginners.
Mm-hmm.
No, my first one was multiple streams of article income. And one of the things you can do with this, that I did with that, is I'd have people do the assignment and send it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd review it and make some comments and suggestions, send it back. So they're interacting with you, getting a sense of your coaching, and they'll want to do more with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then just those 10 things, man. I mean, you could have a monthly membership, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And every month teach one of those 10, okay?
Yeah.
A training, and then a Q&A, and then, you know, maybe interspersed one, you know, additional subject, and then end with an additional subject,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got your year.
Yeah.
You know? And then that could be an evergreen, or you could just keep doing it over and over and over again, right? The cool thing about courses is that about a third of the people that take a course with you will want to be here in the
Mm-hmm.
monthly, and about half of the people that do this will want to be in this. So the odds are good once you get people here. And the other thing I recommend, and we'll talk about later, I recommend whatever people like if I like the one I did, the article marketing for beginners was $37 a month for 3 months. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
$111, I think. That's a hard to do math in public. And then this one was 37 a month. And the psychology of that is, okay, these people are used to paying you $37 a month. Why
Mm-hmm.
not just continue? Right? And part of the other beauty about this, Rick, is that, you know, in those 10 things, you didn't give away the farm or the store. That's not all you know about grant writing.
Right.
And so picture this, you know, master grant writer report in multiples, driving all the traffic, maybe even other small courses, you know, into the short term and monthly. I mean, you're going to have a lot of on ramps to multiple streams. So, making sense so far?
Yeah. And one thing that you've taught before is when you pick your niche, it's good if it's constantly renewing.
Yes.
And grant writing is a high turnover job. So it's
Really?
not like, because it's so intense.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's always new people need the material.
I love it. That's excellent. I did not know that. And so, yeah, renewing and reloading I mean, that's awesome, because there's always going to be people. And so, cool. You getting a glimpse of the future here?
I'm loving it.
Me too. I'm excited for you. It's like I told you, it's amazing how fast 20 minutes go by. So as we wrap up, any questions for me, sir?
There's just sometimes with people in the nonprofit space,
Yep.
they're so price, they want everything for free because they're a nonprofit.
Yep.
So I still like, how do I overcome that barrier?
That's a great question, because I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, and the other place you see that is in churches. I work with a lot of people that are wanting to, to work with those folks, and they've been taught everything is free. Okay. And so what you talk about is added value.
Mm-hmm.
And say, yeah, those things are, okay. And what, do you watch the TV show Blue Bloods?
No, I don't.
Okay. Tom Selleck plays this guy named Frank Reagan. He's the commissioner, police commissioner. And one of my favorite lines of his is, "This is not that." Okay.
Okay.
And that would be a great line to tell. Okay. Yeah. All right. There is that, but this is not that. This is added value that you can actually use right away and make money with. Okay. And so, you can't get into the well, you should pay for stuff argument. But you can do the bridge of, this is added value, and you'll be able to do this with it.
That's
and some people are still gonna not do it, but you don't want them anyway?
Yeah.
Now, that's a really good question. What else?
No, I think I'm just like itching to get this going because it's been in my blood for a while. But as you know, there's been things keeping me from doing this,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's a good time to start moving forward. And
It's a
I
perfect
appreciate this jump start.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for being such a great guest.
No, it's
And folks, if you want to sit in, what's that? Did you say? What did you say?
Oh, I just said it's been easy.
Oh, that's the goal. Because people get nervous about this. I'm like, just relax. I'm going to do most of the work. Just show up, bring an article. And so, folks, if you want to be sitting in Rick's seat, not at his home, but at your own or office, the link's right below my name. It's jeffherring.com/apply, and we'll get you in. And folks, thank you for being a great audience. Rick, again, thank you for being a great guest. And as always, kids, you know what to do. Go use the stuff. That's right. And we'll catch you in a whole new big series next week of 4 more of these 80 minutes free of how to convert your content into cash. That just ain't too shabby. And I'm having a blast, and I hope you all are too.